Hi, everyone, and welcome to this recording today. And I have invited Wendy Blum from United States. Hello, Wendy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
And welcome to this conversation today. We are going to talk about ADHD and to struggle with ADHD thoughts. It's a subject that we both like to bring up, don't we, Wendy?
Yes, definitely. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, so Wendy, you are from United States and you work as a therapist and you are a coach. And maybe you have been working as a therapist for a long time, I don't know.
About 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of found myself specializing in ADHD over the last couple of years. As I was seeing a lot about what was happening in my community and people that were reaching out to me who were experiencing ADHD and neurodivergence, became very, very close to my heart and really interesting for me.
And then you came across this understanding from inside and out, which it's very different from the traditional coaching to see that we function from the inside and out and not from outside and in, and that we can see that we are different in our kind of behavior and to live life. We function different in that way. But if we go deeper, like we do when we go in the inside understanding, we can see that we have this quiet place of everyone inside of us.
Yes. You know, for me, things kind of became like it was like a perfect storm, all these things kind of coming together. When you talk about, finding the inside out understanding that, for me, I was, been practicing as a therapist and enjoying my work a lot, but not feeling like I was finding something that I could work with to really help my clients. I was helping, but I wanted something deeper. And stumbling into this while simultaneously having my own diagnosis of ADHD pop up, everything just sort of came together for me in this kind of, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy even coming into the principles at first. It was being very challenged from a traditional way that I had been trained as a therapist, but it made sense. Do you know how sometimes, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but when you're hearing something really profound and new, it can be really unsettling, and yet you can't turn away from it. And that's sort of how it was for me, like, whoa, this is so different. And yet it just made so much sense. And it felt like coming home of really something that was just innate and deeper inside of me, and learning about that we're not broken. I just knew that I had to understand that more. Hearing that was so profound for me. And I knew that that was something that people that I was working with needed to hear too.
I can see, like, when you hear something that are true, that connects with your heart, everything you thought blows away, because it's stronger. It's, even if you don't understand it intellectually, you just, for me, it was like that. I didn't understand it intellectually, but something something happened with me when I understood that I wasn't broken, that it
Yes.
wasn't the thoughts I had about myself wasn't true.
Yes.
It's a deep level of understanding that no thoughts can take away. You just know when you know deep inside.
Absolutely. It just warms my heart hearing how you see it too. It's like that. It's just powerful. It's something that just, it's like something I could feel physically when I started to see the inside out, see what thought was in a way that I had never been able to grasp or understand. And when I could begin to see what my thoughts were in my personal mind and sort of look over at it like all that can be happening and I can be neutral, just changed my level of anxiety completely. I was really experiencing a lot of anxiety in my life before coming into the principles. Not only was I going through perimenopause, ADHD symptoms were through the roof. And when I say that, I mean feeling completely sped up in my mind, not understanding what was going on, both from, I think, a spiritual level and neurology level. It just was so life-changing for me to have those things come together. And it took time. It wasn't like, oh, a light went on and everything just settled. It wasn't like that. But it's been like moving towards something. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I had also a very difficult time when I had a lot of menopause problem thinking and feeling, and my body wasn't the same, and I was lying in the sofa and didn't feel well, and my mood was low, and it's a difficult time for women. But when I knew about this, it has settled down.
Yes.
So I can't see, I don't feel that in that way no longer, because I also had this with
Thyroid?
yeah. So I all my emotion was floating like so it happened a lot of emotional stuff in me that I couldn't handle, and then I thought, yeah, I'm sick. I got ADHD. I'm polar, because it's go up and down like this, all the way, and sometimes mostly down. So
Yeah.
it's so hard to come up in the mood. But I was also focused on that all the time. I was looking at internet and what are they saying about this? How can we had some hormone for that, or what can I do for it? And I was looking all the time after something that can cure me from everything that I felt. And when I was looking in that direction all the time, and I went to communities on Facebook where women talking about this all the time, share for each other about their problems, it continued to be in my mind all the time.
Yes, I had similar experiences, right? Like, which it's like Dr. Google, right? Like, what's wrong with me? How come I'm feeling this? And really getting, up in our heads. And because we're trying to fix what we're feeling, it's scary. I think, I hear that a lot from clients, and I know I experience it myself, that level of upset and dis-ease in the body and the thinking is so distressful. It's really painful for people. And it can feel very frightening. And that's when we go to this place of like, oh my gosh, there's something so wrong with me, right? Instead of seeing life as this experiences of ups and downs, and that's part of it, right? Not trying to get away from ourselves, but working with ourselves. Learning how to let the mind settle, so then our body can respond, right? Our central nervous system can begin to respond. Our hormones, our cortisol levels can all begin to find some homeostasis, right? And then we can have fresh thinking. We can see more clearly.
And most of the people don't know this. They don't know that it's the thing you're talking about, to sit and slow down things and go through it instead of searching for more and more how to do. It's the key to settle it, but we don't know that. We try our best to help each other to feel better, and we're working so hard. It's very hard to search out there, because there are so many techniques. So many people have different kind, eat this and do that and take that medicine, or so many things you can do to take this away.
Yeah.
But what we are pointing to here is, it's something that the body can and the mind can do by itself. And that's so hopeful.
Yes.
That
yes.
we have this function. We are born with this.
Our own innate reset system. Refresh.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 I was saying to you earlier, most of my clients have ADHD, which is on a spectrum, right? So there's all different kinds of flavors and things that are going on for folks. Most people don't know what a quiet mind is. They think that it's something they have to work really hard to get, or that they can't experience that. It's sort of like, if you've ever sat down to try to meditate, people think that they're failing because their mind isn't getting, they're not experiencing some state of bliss. It's just beginning to notice how we use our thoughts. And in an ADHD brain, it's fair to say it goes faster. And that's all. We just have to know that. We can still learn how to come back to a quieter place. When we're looking in the outside for all the answers, like you and I are saying how our experience was trying to fix it, this group, people here who get it, this supplement, this exercise, this technique, right? We're running ourselves ragged. We're exhausted. And it feels really hopeless. Like, oh, this works for a little bit and then it doesn't. And then, right. And it's this back and forth game, and it kind of keeps you in this loop. So with my clients, that's really one of the first things that we talk about is thought and living in the feeling of our thinking. And it's okay that your brain might go faster, or that your brain is more easily distracted. Sometimes we need to put in some techniques and some things about, not losing keys and phones and some organizational stuff that haven't occurred to people. Those lots of what we might call strategies or techniques for basic function can be really helpful. Work with a lot of college students, so that's helpful. They're learning how to be independent on their own. But no matter what any of that is, it comes back to understanding your thoughts and your personal mind and not following all of it, right? I want to tell you something that's been really helpful for me lately. So for me, on my days off, sometimes those are my hardest days because all of a sudden there's no time limits, there's no schedule, and I can get everything done, right? I'm going to do all these things. And I've learned about myself that I actually dip into a low mood because I get unrealistic about all the things I think I can do. And I have a not a very realistic expectation of time and how much I can get done, say, within a 3-hour time span. And I started visualizing my thoughts as all these spinning plates. Like I could see this visual of, whoa, my thoughts are all these spinning plates. And I can let a whole bunch of them crash down. I don't have to follow all of these ideas or thoughts or impulses that I'm having in my sped up brain. Sometimes it's really wonderful and fun and creative to see how fast things are going, right? It can be interesting if I'm in a high mood, but if I dip into a low mood because I'm not getting all these things done or what I think it's supposed to look like, I'm trying to follow all of those, thoughts and catch those spinning plates before they crash. So that's been kind of a visual metaphor for me to remember to be in the present, like, whoop, come right back here. I don't have to follow all of these things in a day. I can just be more quiet with them. So for me, I find sort of like, okay, what's on fire? Or something I really need to get done today? Great. Or something I really want to do for pleasure? Fine, right? And just move with that. But even in that might look techniquey, it helps me understand my fast brain and still brings me back to a quieter mind because I can see that those thoughts are just busy. I don't have to follow them. Helps me settle.
Can I ask you something, Wendy?
Yes.
When you are up in that busy mind, you want to do this and this and this and that. Have you a feeling inside of yourself that you are not you're not so good enough? You want to be a good girl. You want to. Because sometimes I feel that ADHD, the busy mind, can we say that sometimes it's about you wanting to be more?
Oh, sure.
That you feel that you wanted this because you feel like I cannot be who I am. I must be better. I must do better. I must show me and the other that I can do better. And then you get busy and it goes faster. So when we got a low, what do you call it when you don't like yourself?
Like low self-esteem.
Yeah. If you got that, maybe you need to show yourself and others that no, but I can do this and I can do that, and you got busy, and then you have to call it ADHD because that's not normal to be up there and busy.
Right.
But a lot of people, like I can see a lot of people in Sweden are up in that busy hamster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hamster wheel.
Yeah, because they want to be something more. They want to be special, and they want the others to say that I count and I'm good. So the society wish us to be more than we feel that we are, because most of us don't know who we are.
I think you are bringing up a beautiful point, right? Because what you're pointing to is what's true about all humans. You're pointing to the human condition in our busy modern society, right? Our busy, bigger, better, faster, stronger, right? You know, in America, it's pull yourself up, you got it, right? And I love looking at what's true about all people, because we do want to be well thought of. We do want to be liked. We want to do our best. You know, all those pressures, right? That's so true. That's so true. And so how is that different from all humans? And how does that look different with ADHD, right? There's what's that go between, right? Because I think anybody could, you know, it's so, I think everyone has ADHD. And that's not true. What is true is that there's a lot of expectation in a fast moving culture that our sweet little brains could never possibly catch up with. We're inundated with things moving so fast, right? Our brain hasn't really evolved fast enough to catch up with all that. Yeah. So I love what you're saying. And I think it's such a part of it to be able to see what are we doing being so sped up? And you're pointing towards we don't know who we are when we're just, that's like kind of that outside living really fast spun up. There's a quieter place, because sometimes we're going to have days where we're fast and sped up. There's stuff that has to get done. But there's a better mood that can be found in that space than I'm not enough. That low mood thinking, low self-esteem that we were talking about, right? Like, oh, I'm never good enough thought if I don't get these things done, or I'm not this accomplished or where I'm supposed to be in life. It's just thought.
It's sad. It's sad that we feel this way, because I thought that I had, and other thought that I had both ADHD and bipolar, but now when things have settled down and I have going deeply inside of me and feel more grounded with who I am, I can see that it was a little girl who wanted to be accepted.
Yeah.
And I tried so hard for that. I tried really, really hard. And that's sad that we feel this way, that we need to be so, to put so much after I am this and that, that we have this pressure on us. So most of the people, or a lot of people, must feel that they are that they have this diagnosis. And like I said to you, nowadays I can't identify with that anymore, because I feel more grounded in myself, and I can see that it was a little girl inside who wanted to be accepted, and I run very fast. I ran very fast.
Do you still run very fast?
Yes, I can do that. And I think that if you have lived your life in a kind of way, that speed can come back. It's like you have it, it has been normal for you to have that, but I can guide myself a little more back. I can see that, oh my God, no, my moods is going down. I got this uncomfortable feelings, or I feel that I get irritated on others. So I can see some sign now. Maybe not in the first place, but it comes to me much more quicker. Oh, now you need to slow down. This is not what you need. You are enough.
That right there. You are enough. And seeing that when you're slowed down. Can I share with you a little bit about when I got my diagnosis? So I was 48 when I got diagnosed. And it was from a friend and colleague of mine. We were in a consult group together as a group of therapists. We would meet every other week and discuss cases. And it was a wonderful group. And it's an absolutely wonderful woman who helped me kind of see what was going on. And she thought that I knew that I had ADHD. So there was a day where it was during COVID, so we were in an outside meeting together, and she said something to me about, oh, well, it's because you're so ADHD. And I'd heard her say this to me a few times. I stopped and I was like, that is so frustrating to me that you keep saying this. What do you mean? And she said, oh my gosh. She's like, do you not know? No, what are you talking about? So it ended up, having this really deep conversation. And she said, I just was observing you for the last hour. You took your gloves off about 10 times. You fidget constantly. You struggle not to interrupt people. I can see how fast you're thinking because you want to participate. And she was saying all these things. And I was like, kind of taken aback, because it's sort of like having someone see you in a way that you're not seeing yourself, but it's kind of true. And it ended up going into this deep exploration and doing some assessments. And for me at that time, there was a lot of grief in hearing this, because it explained things about my life that were undeniable. About one of the big things that really hit for me, Celia, was how I was as a student. I really struggled in school a lot. I barely graduated high school. I struggled so badly in math. Now I know I have dyscalculia because I can't see numbers. I can't line them up. There's some dyslexic stuff happening. Understanding what was going on for me in that way. I spent most of my time in high school in detention. I was always in the hall, labeled the dreamer, just smart gal, but just doesn't apply herself. I struggled a lot in ways that I saw, quite frankly, as something really wrong with me that I had to hide and cover up a lot. So I spent a lot of my time doing other things. I'll be the funny one. I'm athletic. I can, all these other parts of my personality, I just used more because I wanted to hide what I was experiencing as not enough, not getting things, feeling behind. So for me, in those ways, and also, I guess, it's important for me maybe to share, this is absolutely, like, multiple of my siblings have ADHD. We have autism in our family as well. My daughter's been diagnosed. There's been key things about that have been extremely helpful in understanding things. But because I don't know any different about not understanding that and with the principles at the same time, for me, that has just felt like such a gift. But for me, it was really helpful for me to understand the science and executive functioning and central nervous system, and understanding what was going on physically was extremely helpful for me, because I don't pay attention to it as much. Now instead of seeing what is wrong with me when I'm sped up or feeling really rejected or all these experiences emotionally, I just hold it loosely. It doesn't bother me in the way that it did, because I feel like I understand something different about myself. But there was a lot of grief for me. And I've heard from several of my clients who have gotten diagnosed later in life who have experienced it really similarly to that. Like, I wished I could have understood this or known that about myself. So I don't know if any of that resonates with you and your experience, because we all have very different experiences with it. Like, some people, you can call it ADHD. My friend Sam says, you can call it a ham sandwich. You can call it whatever you want. You know, and I think that that's important.
It sounds like you're talking about my story with the school. That I had also problems in the school and with the mathematics, and yeah, and we have also have all this thing in the family and diagnosis, but I can see that it has slowed down for me. I don't pay attention, like you say, you don't pay attention in that way anymore, because I can see that thoughts that I believe in start to bring me things all the time that I can be busy up in. And if I just know that I have listened to that thoughts too much, I can just slow down a little bit, and it and back to the speed of life.
Yes. So what I kind of have come to see is, like, it doesn't matter what diagnosis you have. And for some people, it really matters. That's okay. You might meet people where they're at, but that the principles cut through everything. It just comes. It doesn't matter if you have bipolar or if you're autistic or you ADHD or whatever that is. If understanding inside out, understanding mind and thought, being in these conversations, it's that universal piece for me, like seeing what's true about all humans, no matter how fast your mind is going, no matter how low your mood gets, how depressed, how high, whatever that is, we all can come back to this. It's what we all have in common. And to me, it just makes me emotional. I just find so much peace and beauty in that.
And we got what we focus on. Mm-hmm. If we focus to stay in, settle down a little bit and slow down and not go with a thinking about me, not good enough, I had problems, I can't do school, I can't do work, blah, 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 then it goes, we speed it up. So we just need to know where to go the other way and not listen, not believe so much in those thoughts we make up.
Yeah.
So it's a guiding system inside of us, and we human being, we can do different things. some people are good at football, and some people are good at singing, and some people are good in school, and we got things, Wendy, you and I, we are good at, even if we didn't manage school that much. But that's okay. We have other things, and but the system have decided that you need to be like.
Exactly. Right.
That's the, and there we got the problem for us. We feel the problem.
Yes.
that we need to be in this particular way, and if we not fit in, we feel all this.
It's that pressure that you were talking about, right? So while I barely graduated high school, when I went to graduate school in my 40s and did it in a different time frame and in a different format, and something I was really passionate about and I was so interested, I got a 4.0 the entirety of my graduate program. But I barely graduated high school. So what do you make of that?
Yeah.
Following your interest, what works for how there's so,
that's very good.
Gosh,
yeah.
So much about that, right? If I'm interested, that's one of the great things about like hyper focus. Like if I'm like a dog with a bone, if I'm interested in it, I am all in, right? So
maybe it's like universe have given us different gifts. We are here to do different things. We can't do the same, all of us. We have to come and do different things, and
yeah, I agree with that 100%. And because yes, we all have something special to bring. So ADHD, if you want to call it that, or you want to call it anything else about how you see the world, it doesn't have to be what's wrong with you. It can be what's right with you. When we understand how we work.
And some people talking very much and talking fast, and some people don't like, they are quiet, and I think we need both.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yes. Did you get told you were always a little too much?
Yeah. And
oh my God, all the time. Wendy, slow down. You're too much.
This is very funny, because I have always heard that I'm talking too much. I'm loud, and and I went to a work lately, and my boss told me that you are very quiet, and sometimes it's like you go in yourself. And I just laugh, because I never heard that before, and I just came home and told my husband, have you heard what she told me today, that I'm quiet? And he's just, what? I thought that was so funny. I'm 51 now, and I've never ever heard that I should be that I could be quiet.
Right.
I've never been that, but I can be that. I have seen that. I have noticed that sometimes especially when I feel that I'm not, I don't see it in the same way. Maybe I don't, or if I'm interested in what you're going to say, it can also be that I really want to listen, and then I get quiet. And sometimes I want to be quiet, because I love the quiet space, and I couldn't bear to have quiet space before. I needed to fill it up all the time. I couldn't walk out in the nature by myself before. I needed someone to go with me, or the telephone, or I had always needed something to happen all the time, and I didn't want to be with myself, be alone. I hated to be at home with myself. And now I just love it. So I have changed.
Yes.
Because I don't feel that I'm alone anymore. I'm not afraid to be with myself, because I don't have that scary thoughts.
That's beautiful. What a gift.
Yeah. So this understanding, and when I saw that I wasn't broken, and I was in a very bad shape when I saw that, because I was staying at a retreat center for psychologically sick people. So I got a lot of therapy and help there because of that. And now I can't identify myself with it, because I know that, and I just talking about me now. I'm
Yes.
talking about what I saw when because it didn't help me to be there. They did everything for me. They were so kind. And they tried everything, but I didn't get better. I just felt so bad that I didn't want to live anymore. So I had very dark thoughts about end my life. And when I came in that hurtful place, feeling with myself, it just shifted. It just happened, something here inside that said, now it's enough. Stop. And for the first time, and I was 49 years old, for the first time I knew that I was mentally healthy, that I wasn't broken. And then it didn't come from anyone outside. I was alone. So after that, I can't identify myself with those diagnoses they were putting to me, because I see now that it was so made up by me pushing myself in that direction, that I didn't know who I was. I didn't know that the deeper, I wasn't aware who I am. I thought that I was my thought.
Yes. Yes.
I misunderstood.
Yeah. People misunderstand, thinking I am my trauma. I'm my past. I had suicidal thoughts, so I'm wrong. I had a breakdown. I had a panic attack. I've this, that, or the other. And they get so afraid that that's who they are, that means something so awful about them, because they don't understand it moves. I can definitely look back over my life in some really dark, tough places. And I thought I was for sure broken. I'd lost my way. I had what happened to me? And I don't see it that way anymore. And I see the innocence of my thinking. I see the innocence of how scared I was about how I was experiencing it physically and in my mind. I just have so much more compassion for myself. Love. And I think when I heard you talk about finding that alone, that really resonated with me too, because it has, right? There's no other way. You had an insight and you knew. Whatever happened, all those thoughts, it doesn't mean anything about you. And when I look back on my life and those hard things, oh no, I can't feel that way again. Oh, that was really bad. Oh, I fell apart. Oh, that was scary. Oh, I let people down. It had to be that way. I was waking up all along. It doesn't scare me so much anymore if I go into a low mood. I know it moves. I trust that now. But I didn't know how to trust it before. I would get really busy trying to think and fix my way out of it, instead of trusting that it's part of the human condition and it'll move.
So we know when we meet people that this is a sight from within. So we can just make a space for the people we talk to settle down the busy thoughts, so they can have this insight for themselves. And maybe it doesn't come in a calm, when you got this insight. Maybe it doesn't come when you feel calm, but it can really hurt to get an insight.
Yes.
It hurt a lot for me, even if I deeply knew what was true. It's still, I get very sad about it, because I had lived my life in that situation and feeling. It's not that I was always feeling low and down. My life has gone really up and down.
Yeah.
I had a lot of funny moments too. But it
Yes.
was like I don't know what the name is in English when you go to a land that you are traveling up and down in when you're playing. I don't know what you call it in English, but my life was really up and down. It was like I said to myself, I'm a drama queen. Because I can be so happy and laugh a lot and have so fun, and then I just right down in the bottom, and it like whee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's hard to live like that with those drama ups and downs. So I still got happy times and bad times, but I don't go in the knock in the top or deep down in the bottom, because I stop myself a little bit. But we still got those moments.
Yeah. And it's okay. It's not always my preference, but it's okay.
We are human. So we feel, and life brings us things that we react on.
Yes.
We get thoughts about our circumstances. And when we are tired, or we have moved too fast for a while, we feel that our circumstances are heavier.
And some of us don't know how to recognize when we're actually just tired. We override those systems, right? And we're not taking care. We're not slowing ourselves down.
I used to say to my husband, I say to my husband if we are arguing about something and it's in the evening, and I feel like I can't figure out how to end this conversation, I always say, I want to stop now. Even if I know you want to discuss this further, but I don't want to. I do it tomorrow, because I don't know what I'm saying right now. I don't know how to move this. It's better to end.
That's good wisdom. Right?
Yeah, but before we learn that, I learned that you must be friends before you leave each other. In this
Don't go to bed
discussion.
angry.
No,
Yeah.
don't go to bed like that. But that doesn't work. Not for me.
You're learning, you have learned to work with yourself instead of against yourself. And that's a massive difference in how we move through life.
And we are the only one that can take care of ourselves and our emotions. So when I see that it doesn't help me to have conversations when I'm tired, it's better for me to listen to that. Even if I understand that he wants to discuss this. And it's not that I don't discuss it, but not now. Because now I don't know what I'm saying. And then I can maybe say something that I will regret. So that's a kind of guiding.
That changes relationships when we can recognize when to stop and slow it down.
Yeah, because we regret when if we move on with it, we regret it after. We say things that we don't mean.
Yeah.
And that's also people talking about ADHD. They speed up the tempo. They say, talking a lot. They say things that they don't mean, and it goes very, very fast. So I have learned for myself that slow down that. When I notice that I'm going to make it faster and say things that's not good, I guide myself when I notice it. Sometimes I don't, but if I do that, I stop.
And that's so different from how you were doing life before, where Instead, you might have impulsively just kept going. It's like that dopamine seeking impulsivity. I want a reaction. I'll fight. I got to hear this out. I need someone to take care and see my feelings. I have to be right. You found a quieter space and you learn how to regulate your own emotions and feelings. Let them just be there for a moment. Right? Our feelings guide us where we're at. Slowing it down. Because we can feel it physically when we learn how to pay attention to it. We know when we're getting ramped up. So you don't have to be a drama queen. You can accept, sometimes you're going to get angry, of course, right? That's not a problem. It's a problem when you're taking it out on everybody around you and you're acting like a jerk and you're trashing relationships, right? But we can learn how to be with that. We can learn how to be with anger, sadness, disappointment, right? I didn't know that before. I thought I just always had to get rid of those feelings. They're not my favorite ones, but they show up. What can you do? You're a human. Have a human experience.
And in the beginning of the 3 principles, learning and understanding, I was listening to people talking about we are a part of the nature, and like the weather. A lot of people were talking about the weather and the snowing and the rain, and that we all got all this weather inside of us. So we just have to know that it blows over, whatever it is. Sometimes it's sunshine, sometimes it's raining, sometimes and what are we doing about the weather? What can we do about the weather?
We put on a raincoat and we know that the storm will pass. But I didn't used to know that.
Oh.
I thought I was getting life wrong. I don't see it that way anymore. I mean, I still might go there, but I come back to remembering.
We are still human.
Oh, yeah.
But this brings hope to other people to get to know the guide inside.
We've loved this conversation with you.
Me too, Wendy. And I wish that not so many people and not all these children need to be diagnosed with all these things. I see that it's just normal weather in all of us. And if we learn how to come back and see who we are, the innate, we can go through life with everything, ups and downs, and laughing and crying and anger and sadness and everything. Allowed everything.
Because then we can accept ourselves instead of getting away from ourselves.
Yeah. Be who we are.
Even if it's
enough.
Too much sometimes. It's just the right amount. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Wendy.
Thank you. This has been a lovely conversation and such a pleasure to have this time with you. Thank you.
I could recognize myself in your sharing a lot. And it's very, it settles down my pressure to know that I'm not alone. We got this feeling. A lot of people out there have this feeling. So thank you for sharing, Wendy.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing too.
Okay. We say hi to the listener.